every culture is nuanced and every individual comes in with their unique identity, and we need to do the work to understand, to lean in, and to serve them better. I think one of the biggest misunderstanding about intercultural communication is people think it is about some of the surface level things that they observe. They think it's about food or the clothes people wear, or it's how we greet one another. But does that make someone intercultural? Absolutely not. Intercultural skills and intercultural competence involves understanding how we can navigate differences. Intercultural communication is the process where there is an exchange of information, ideas, and values, beliefs. It would be considering what is the norm in one society versus another, what are the different perceptions, perspectives, what are different worldviews out there, and how we can bridge these differences with all the different people that we meet. And one of the things to understand with intercultural communication is that a lot of the work has been done from a Western perspective. But what if we took a step back and we included or engaged with a wide scope of non-Western approaches? Then what would that look like? Because on one level, we have communication. On the other level, we also need connection. And with that, when we learn how to navigate differences, we can grow our skills in intercultural communication.
Settlement work is built on trust and rapport building, and that intercultural communication piece is such an integral part of that. It's the basis of the work that we do in settlement.
Making space for folks to thrive in their own culture, in their own language, and their own ways of being when they come to Canada is really important for folks supporting in the settlement journey to ensure that we're honoring who people really are when they come.
I believe intercultural communication is essential for settlement workers because we are the first point of contact for newcomers, and we create their first impression of support in Canada. As an example, we at PIRS serve immigrant and refugee women from 50 countries around the world. They speak 24 languages. Many of them came out of war and displacement. Being heard and being understood helps them to build a relationship of trust with the settlement workers. That is the foundation of every settlement work. And the idea is to building bridges between these cultures, not make them similar together.
Because so much of this rhetoric is about assimilation. It's you come to Canada and you must assimilate and you have to conform. We shouldn't maybe ask people to do that. What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
And who are we actually identifying and centering in that ideology or the terminology, and when we mean Canadian culture, right?
When there is a breakdown of intercultural communication, it inevitably leads to conflict. It leads to a loss of a sense of identity, power. It leads to discrimination at the end of the day. And one of the things with intercultural communication is, yes, on the one hand, differences, how we navigate differences. But on the other hand, what do we do with what we perceive as commonalities? Because there may be commonalities, yes, but if we go in and we try to minimize the differences and focus on the commonality, we might be missing the whole picture. The differences that we minimize is what pushes people into the margins. We're trying to clear a space where we center ourselves and we center the knowledge we know or the experiences we have when we try to relate with the other person. But instead, focus on the differences, focus on how we can navigate those differences and respect the differences that are there rather than minimizing them.
I think what I've seen sometimes is that as we get into doing the work more, people can become a little bit on autopilot, right? And that's, we're all aware of the nature of this work, it's intense, and people have to do the best they can with a high volume of work, and maybe not always the time that they need to do all of that work. So sometimes the easiest path can be to maybe assume the story of the person who's sitting across from you because you've, heard maybe something similar, many times. So I think it is easy for folks to maybe fall into that trap. So I think for us, as leaders, and just with the staff, internally in teams, it's just having those conversations and just making sure that there's space for teams to share their experience, to share their expertise, and also to kind of hold each other in check.
We have our own ways of thinking and being. We have our ways of considering what is justice, what is not, what is the right way to do, what is the right way to be. And sometimes we don't even know we have this in place. So we have these constraints that are imposed upon us by our worldview, by the cultural lenses that we hold. And so it takes quite a bit of work. It takes an intentional stepping back and acquiring some training to even consider what about our worldview needs to be changed if I have to consider another person's worldview.
All of our policies, all of our procedures, the way that I do performance management, compensation, however I do my work at an organization has to be through the lens of anti-racism, equity, and access. And if we're not doing that, we're not doing it right. And that training will then cascade to how we do our settlement work. If our folks are being trained on intersectionality, if they're being trained on culturally appropriate communication, if they're being trained on anti-racism, equity, accessibility, these are things that we can all embed in our work.
The other thing is to also consider, it's a very powerful concept, to consider intent versus impact. Because we might have really good intentions. We might show up to work and we might say, I'm going to help every single individual. But is it something that they actually wanted? So what kind of support do they want? So how are my actions going to impact the other person?
As an occupational language teacher, I teach around 18 students that they come from different countries around the world. So before I start my lessons, I just check in with them and ask them what they are doing. I just give them some time to do their assignments for other classes. I just give them some time to just have some conversations with with the other classmates. I don't rush them to start our lessons and do the assignments and do the homework. Giving them time and listening to them and asking them and helping them to express themselves is really helpful for them to build trust. And this trust helps to have a good relationship and communication that happens from the beginning of the classes and will continue until the end of the classes and sessions. We have to slow down when we want to listen to immigrants. We have to give a space for pauses. When we listen to them like this, they don't feel like that they are clients. They feel like that they are human beings with stories that we really want to listen to their stories.
Tools are really important in this context in terms of, not just providing tools to folks on how they can do things in Canada, but also providing them space to share their subject matter expertise or to share any of their knowledge or share anything that they have or want to share in terms of, improving process. I can, relate to our SCOPE program at Mosaic, where we support newcomers to get on boards. And that's so important because not only are we meeting these newcomers where they're at, we're asking them, where do you want to go? And how can we get you there? And then how can we get you in a space where you can make meaningful, impactful change with your perspective? And these kinds of initiatives are paramount to ensuring that newcomers not only have access to doing things when they come to Canada, but also meaningfully impact in the way that they would have in their own fields back home. Mm-hmm. And we've had many graduates from that program. We've got folks on boards all over Vancouver, and they're making meaningful change in the city and the Lower Mainland, and it's wonderful.
One thing that we do at PRS, we teach and empower women to be an advocate for themselves. And this is one of the key aspects of our teaching. And in our programs, participants, after they get their certifications, after they have done the programs, many of them become our colleagues. Most of the time, we hire these alumni of PIRS, those who have been studying in PIRS, and ask them to be part of the system because they come from that understanding and they can better serve other immigrant and refugee women.
I mean, ultimately, what we're trying to do is have people feel really confident, again, safe, to be who they really are, and however they show up in spaces, to be really genuine. Because if people are bringing their best selves, to their work, to their community, then that, overall benefits the entire community. There's a lot of power that settlement agencies have and a lot of influence.
Everything just comes down to listening very carefully and attentively to what they really need. And start from that point is the key in every intercultural communication, in every kind of settlement work.
It's about providing folks tools to become fully thriving members of this community or Canada, and whatever that looks like. And I think, we talk a lot about making a seat at the table. We need to build a table that's meant for everyone, as opposed to saying, this table exists and you can bring a chair to it. It should more be of, we've built something that's for everyone and we're holding ourselves accountable to that.
It's really critical for us to use our skills to interrogate and think about who is in the center, who is in the margins, and how can we ensure that everyone's voice is represented in the work that we do. And we can go in and everyone gets to have a say in how we support and how we serve our community.